You were brilliant. I'm trying to describe how amazing it was. You know what?
A lot of people know Darci Lynne Farmer as the smart and talented ventriloquist who blew everyone away on America's Got Talent, AGT, when she was only 12 years old. With her cute puppets and beautiful voice, she became famous right away, getting standing ovations and Mel B's coveted golden buzzer. Her performances on AGT captivated audiences all over the world, making her a household name in what seemed like an instant. But behind the scenes, Darci's rise to fame was a lot harder and more complicated than most people thought. When Darci first came on American Idol, she seemed like a normal girl with a great talent. The judges and the viewers were both amazed by how well she could make her puppets come to life and sing through them. Millions of people watched clips of her audition, which made her one of the most famous contestants in the show's history. But as Darci's fame grew, she had a number of personal problems that put her strength and determination to the test. There's more to Darci's story than just her time on American Idol. There are struggles and problems she overcame that not many people saw behind the scenes. As a child, she dealt with severe shyness and social anxiety. Later, she had health problems. Her path to fame is full of both happy and sad times. Even with all the praise and applause, Darci had to deal with the pressures of young fame. She had to find a way to balance her newfound fame with her desire to live a normal life in Oklahoma, where she was from. People thought Darci was a confident performer, but when she wasn't on stage, she was having a hard time with the sudden change in her life. Darci had to fight all the time to stay grounded because fame brought her both new chances and new pressures. Behind the scenes, she was dealing with a very personal problem that almost derailed her plans. She bravely told the world about her battle with cancer to bring attention to it and help other people who are going through similar things. This article tells the story of Darci Lynne that hasn't been told before. It talks about the hidden problems, the struggles with self-doubt, and the painful times that made her the strong young woman she is now. Many people remember her AGT performances as happy and celebratory times, but not many people know how hard it was for her to get to the top. The story of Darci is a strong reminder that there can be shadows even in the brightest lights. Come with us as we look into the journey of Darci Lynne, the ventriloquist who won our hearts and taught us what it means to keep going, even when things get hard. 2. Early life and struggles with shyness. If you remember Darci Lynne Farmer before she became famous on America's Got Talent, she was a quiet and shy girl from Oklahoma. Clark and Misty Farmer, her parents, and her 3 brothers, Nick, Dalton, and Nate, raised her in Oklahoma City. She was born on October 12, 2004, and they are married. Her childhood was full of the simple pleasures of a close family bond and the safe place her parents made for her. However, Darci was very shy, even though she had a loving family life. This made it hard for her to interact with other people and be in public places. When she was younger, Darci liked to avoid being the center of attention, so she would hide behind her mother when she met new people. She was so shy that she avoided making eye contact and didn't say much when other people were around. It was hard for her to make friends and do things with other kids her age because of this. Her young life was hard because she was afraid of social situations and felt anxious when she did. This made her parents wonder how they could help their daughter come out of her shell. When Darci was only 6 years old, her parents entered her in local talent shows to help her get over being shy. They thought that being on stage would help her get used to being in front of people. It wasn't easy at first. Darci was sick of performing in front of people, and the nerves of being on stage were almost too much for her to handle. Even though she was scared at first, she slowly started to love performing, especially singing or speaking in public. Some of her early talent began to show in these pageants, even though her shyness still held her back. When Darci went to an international talent show and met a reigning pageant queen who was also a ventriloquist, things started to change. Darci was immediately interested in the art form and saw ventriloquism as a way to express herself without having to face her fear of public speaking. She thought that using a puppet might help her get out of her comfort zone while still giving her a voice on stage that wasn't her own. This meeting planted a seed that would grow into something that would change her life. However, Darci's family wasn't sure about her excitement about ventriloquism at first. Misty, her mother, thought that Darci was better at singing than ventriloquism. Darci's parents were also worried about whether she would be able to balance her new hobby with her gymnastics and schoolwork. Even with these worries, Darci didn't give up. She kept talking about how much she liked ventriloquism, and for her 10th birthday, she got her parents to buy her a puppet. When Darci got that first puppet, he really started to learn how to be a ventriloquist. She practiced in front of her bedroom mirror for hours on end, teaching herself how to move her lips and give her puppets different voices. It took her a long time to get good at throwing her voice around so that it sounded like the puppet was talking. It only took her a few months to learn how to bring her puppets to life in a way that amazed her family and friends. Darci found that ventriloquism saved her life. It gave her a way to express herself without having to face her shyness head-on. She could make up characters that could say and do things she was afraid to say or do herself. Darci found it hard to be funny, brave, and expressive in real life, but she could be all of those things with her puppets. The new way she could express herself gave her a confidence she had never felt before. Her dedication and hard work soon paid off. Darci's big break came when she won first place in a local talent show called Edmund's Got Talent, beating out both adult and child competitors. There was a professional ventriloquist coach named Gary Owen who saw her performance and offered to help her learn. Gary's help in improving Darci's skills and figuring out how to handle the challenges of performing in front of bigger crowds was a key part of her growth. Darci's life changed after that. What began as a way for her to get over being shy quickly turned into a passion that would shape her future. She found that ventriloquism helped her communicate with the world and break free from the limits of her anxiety. However, Darci found her voice through her puppets. She had no idea that this one-of-a-kind skill would soon take her to America's Got Talent, one of the biggest stages in the world. Darci had early problems with shyness, but she was determined to get over them by learning how to do ventriloquism. This set the stage for her amazing journey. She had to be brave, persistent, and ready to take risks on the journey. These are all traits that would help her as she got ready for the next part of her life. Even though she had problems as a shy girl, Darci's story shows how important it is to find your voice, even if it comes in a strange way. 3. Path to AGT, local competitions, and discovering her talent. Prior to appearing on America's Got Talent, AGT, Darci Lynne Farmer improved her abilities in a number of local competitions. These helped her find her passion for ventriloquism and gain the confidence to perform in front of large groups of people. She didn't become famous overnight on AGT. It took years of dedication, hard work, and small but important wins that got her ready for the spotlight. Darci became very interested in learning how to do ventriloquism after getting her first puppet for her 10th birthday. With help from her family, she practiced hard in her room, getting better at speaking without moving her lips and giving her characters unique voices. She spent hours coming up with and perfecting routines that mixed singing and comedy. She also learned how to make her puppets look as real as possible. Her hard work soon paid off, and she quickly improved her skills, making everyone around her admire her. The first big break Darci got was when she competed in Edmund's Got Talent, a local show in her hometown of Edmond, Oklahoma. Even though she was nervous at first, Darci's ventriloquism performance wowed the judges and the crowd, winning first place and beating contestants of all ages. This win made her feel better about herself and supported her choice to become a ventriloquist. It showed her and everyone else that she had a unique talent. As a small but meaningful reward, she also won $300. This was the beginning of her journey as a performer. After her success in Edmond, Darci went on to compete in other shows, such as Oklahoma's Got Talent and America's Kids, where she won Entertainer of the Year. Darci gained important stage experience from these events, which helped her feel more at ease when performing in front of crowds and try out new routines. Each show helped her improve her act, from picking the right songs to making her relationship with her puppets stronger. Darci's journey took a big turn when she met Gary Owen, a professional ventriloquist and coach, who offered to be her mentor because he saw how much she could grow. It got even better for Darci when Gary helped her with her performances. He taught her the finer points of stage presence, how to create characters, and the technical parts of ventriloquism that are more than just throwing her voice around. Gary also put Darci in touch with other ventriloquists, who helped her find mentors and opportunities that helped her grow even more. Darci first became known to people across the country when she went on Steve Harvey's NBC show Little Big Shots in 2016. She performed on TV for the first time at this event, which brought her to the attention of more people. The experience showed Darci that her talent could be used in places other than local competitions and venues, and it gave her a taste of what success could be like. People liked how she did on Little Big Shots, which made her want to go after bigger opportunities even more. When Darci found out that there were AGT auditions in Austin, Texas, she was ready to make the jump. She thought that AGT would be the best way to show off her skills and get her beloved puppets seen by people across the country. Darci was nervous about competing on such a big stage, but she knew she was up for the challenge because of what she had done in the past. Even though it meant missing the first day of 7th grade, she talked her parents into letting her try out. Darci's journey to AGT was marked by determination, a willingness to take risks, and the skill to turn problems into chances. Every competition she competed in and performance she gave brought her one step closer to her goal. If you asked Darci what she thought about taking her puppets to the AGT auditions, she had no idea how much her life would change. The journey that began in small venues in their own town was about to take a huge step forward on one of the world's biggest stages. 4. Winning AGT and its immediate impact. For Darci Lynne Farmer, winning America's Got Talent, AGT, changed her whole life. As the winner of Season 12, she had put in months of hard work and dedication, and she had dealt with personal problems her whole life. Along with Angelica Hale, she stood on stage with host Tyra Banks and waited for the final results. A wave of emotions hit her. It was clear that the room was tense, and Darci felt like time had stopped. That was until Tyra called her the winner. That was a moment she, her family, and millions of viewers would never forget. Darci was especially happy with her win because she had entered the competition to show how good she was. During the season, she had to compete with tough acts like singers, comedians, and amazing dance groups, each of whom brought something special to the AGT stage. But Darci stands out because she has a unique mix of ventriloquism, humor, and singing skills. Her performances made people feel good and were fun to watch, so both the judges and the fans loved her. 52 million votes were cast in the finale, which was a record number. It was clear that Darci had won over the hearts of Americans. In addition to the title, Darci won $1 million and got to be the main act at a show in Las Vegas. The win was like a dream come true for a girl from Oklahoma who is 12 years old. But Darci's victory meant more than the money and the attention. It meant that the years she had spent getting over her shyness and improving her craft had been worth it. It showed how much she had learned and how well she could do on one of the world's biggest stages. When Darci won AGT, it changed her life right away, and in a big way. She became a national star overnight, with reporters lining up to talk to her and fans lining up to see her perform live. Her popularity on social media went through the roof, and she was in the spotlight in a way she had never been before. Someone who used to have trouble speaking in public found being the center of so much attention both exciting and overwhelming. She got her first big break when she went on a national tour with her ventriloquism act, which sold out venues all over the United States. The tour was only supposed to have a few shows at first, but because of high demand, it was quickly extended. Darci talked to fans of all ages during her shows. Many of them had been following her journey on American Idol. She would later think about how amazing it was to meet young people who wanted to be ventriloquists and looked up to her as an inspiration. They were eager to learn the art that had changed her life. People also watched more of America's Got Talent after Darci won. Millions of people watched the finale of her season, which saw a big rise in viewers. People became interested in the show again because of her special skills and touching story. This showed that people were still hungry for the kind of inspiring stories that AGT is known for. Reports said that Season 12 of American Idol had the highest ratings in years. This was mostly due to Darci's performances and how exciting she made the competition. She did a lot of new things after her win, like going on popular talk shows like The Ellen DeGeneres Show and doing guest spots on later seasons of American Idol. She also did guest spots in Las Vegas, where she shared the stage with Terry Fator, another ventriloquist who used to be on American Idol. Terry, who won the second season of American Idol, had always been an inspiration to Darci, and being able to perform with him was a dream come true. Their duet of old songs with their own puppets was the high point of Darci's young career and a sign that she was about to become a real star in the world of ventriloquism. Even though her life was changing quickly, Darci was determined to stay grounded. Her choice was to stay in Oklahoma, and after a short time of trying to go back to public school, she switched to homeschooling to better handle her new duties. Darci's family was very important to her as she dealt with the stresses of fame, making sure she could still live a somewhat normal teenage life while following her dream. The first few months after AGT were full of new experiences, challenges, and chances for Darci. Not only did winning the show change her life, it also gave her a chance to share her story and inspire other people. She used her newfound fame to tell young people that they should follow their dreams, even if they seem strange. Darci's win on American Idol was more than just a big step in her career. It was the start of a new era where she could fully embrace her skills and the person she had become. Even though her life would never be the same, she stayed focused on what was most important, showing the world how much she loved ventriloquism and being the shy, determined girl she had always been. 5. Hidden struggles behind the fame. Darci Lynne Farmer jumped into the spotlight when she was on America's Got Talent, AGT, but her meteoric rise wasn't as glamorous as it seemed. Behind the happy performances, standing ovations, and bright lights, Darci had some tough personal times that tested how strong she was. It was hard for her to balance her newfound fame with the normal problems that come with being a teenager, and she also had to deal with deeper personal problems that she didn't talk about with her fans. The stress of her sudden fame was one of the hardest things she had to deal with. At just 12, she went from being a girl from Oklahoma who not many people knew to being a famous person who everyone knew and the media loved. Even though she was very thankful for the chances she got after winning AGT, her life had changed a lot. The constant attention from fans, the close scrutiny from the media, and the demands of a public life were too much for a young girl who had always had trouble with shyness. Darci talked a lot about how hard it was for her to get used to her new life. When she first won AGT, she tried going back to public school to feel like things were back to normal. That being said, she quickly learned that being a famous person made life as a middle school student very different. It was hard for her to concentrate on her work, and the attention from her classmates made her feel even more alone. When Darci finally decided to switch to homeschooling, she was able to focus on her career while also putting her education first. Even though she was making this change, it was still hard for her to balance the fame expectations with her desire for a normal teenage life. Darci also had trouble with the stress that came with performing. Even though she was sure of herself on stage, the stress of having to give perfect performances every night got to her. Darci had always been the toughest person to please, and as people's expectations rose, so did her own pressure to live up to them. This pressure made her doubt herself a lot, especially when she was getting ready for big performances or events with a lot of attention. In retrospect, Darci would say that even though she seemed sure of herself on stage, she sometimes felt like the world was weighing down on her. Darci may have had the hardest time during her rise to fame when she had to deal with a serious health problem. Darci finally told everyone in 2020 that she had been fighting cancer, a secret she had kept while she was getting treatment. She chose not to say what kind of cancer she had, but the experience changed her life in a big way. For a young person whose life was already stressful because things were changing so quickly, being sick and facing death was a very hard and lonely experience. She chose to tell the public her story after she was told she no longer had cancer in July 2020. She told everyone about her battle because she wanted to bring attention to it and help people who were going through the same thing. Many of Darci's fans had been following her journey since she was on American Idol. When she talked about her problems, they connected with her deeply. She used her fame to support cancer charities, such as the Oklahoma-based Toby Keith Foundation, which helps kids with cancer. turning a painful part of her life into a force for good, showed that she was more mature and caring than her years suggested. While Darci was going through this hard time, her family was very important to her. Clark and Misty, her parents, were with her at all of her doctor's appointments, and through all of her hard times. The love and support they gave Darci gave her the strength to keep going after her dreams, even when things looked impossible. A lot of the time, Darci says that her family's unwavering support is what helped her get through it with a positive attitude. Darci had to deal with health problems and the stress of her career. She also had to stay true to herself in a world that often expects young stars to be a certain way. The entertainment business can be very demanding, and Darci sometimes had trouble staying true to herself. She felt like she had to keep changing her act to keep people interested, even though she was also trying to follow her other interests, like writing songs and acting. It was a delicate dance between these goals and her ventriloquism act, which made her famous in the first place. She wanted to show that she was more than just a ventriloquist, but she was also afraid of losing the fans who had been there for her from the start. With all of these hidden problems, Darci has always been determined to stay true to herself and keep a positive attitude. She figured out how to balance her professional goals with her need to heal and grow as a person. It was okay for Darci to take a step back and care for herself, even if it meant stepping out of the spotlight. Through her journey, we can see how strong she is and how well she can adapt, even when things get hard. Her story shows that even people who seem to have everything can be having a hard time. Her story shows us that the way to success is often blocked by problems we don't see coming. To really be strong, we need to face these problems honestly and bravely. Darci still tells her story today, both as a performer and as an advocate for getting through hard times. Even when things are going well, there can be dark times. But she shows that it is possible to find light even when things are bad. Darci Lynne Farmer went from being a shy little girl in Oklahoma to winning America's Got Talent. Her story is full of amazing highs, surprising lows, and inspiring strength. A lot of people loved her rise to fame, but what really made her story amazing was how she overcame personal problems and stayed true to herself. Behind the smiles and funny puppets, Darci had to deal with problems that most people never saw. She was shy. She had to deal with the stresses of becoming famous all of a sudden, and she even had a serious health crisis. Darci's story shows how important it is to keep going even when things get hard and follow your passion, even if it seems strange at first. People learnt about ventriloquism through her success on American Idol. It also showed that talent and hard work can come from the strangest places. Darci stayed grounded even as she went into music and acting. She used her fame to inspire and help others, especially those who were going through their own problems. Darci keeps learning new things, which is a good reminder that the path to success isn't always easy. Young fans look up to her because she isn't afraid to talk about her problems. She shows that being strong isn't just about winning competitions, but also about facing life's challenges with courage and grace. Many people only talk about the glamorous parts of fame, but Darci Lynne's story stands out as an inspiration for being strong and true to yourself. That you can be true to your roots and still dream big is something she has shown. As Darci looks to the future, her fans can't wait to see what she does next. They are sure that her journey isn't over yet, and that her story will continue to inspire people for years to come.